I am a black female from Durham, North Carolina. I grew up in a town with a 50% white and 50% black population, so I had an even experience with both races. My family was of lower middle class. We were far from being considered the disadvantaged group, but I still know what the divide looks like in terms of access and achievement. I had an experience at the Makers Faire in Colorado Springs that would shape how I should view access and even the concept of the digital divide. My experience demonstrated to me that access existed beyond the physical sense in terms of having, but also reflected a mental sense in terms of doing. I took my 3-year-old son to the event to allow him to participate in this trend of making, doing, and hands-on learning. The experience was just as I expected, and even offered a wide variety from paper making to rocket launching. We ventured to an area labeled Lego Creation, which had the usual Lego pieces. They even had a special room dedicated to Lego robotics. And I would have loved to take my son, but his 3-year-old mind just might not have comprehended. So we just played with the Legos. The first thing I noticed was that not one girl was in the group, and then no people of color. But I wasn't surprised. As I continued to watch my son build his Legos, another little boy started talking to me about what he was building. He was about 10 to 12 years old and of African American descent. He explained that he was making the top part of a helicopter, but putting the propeller on the bottom. I exclaimed, "Oh, great idea, so it can hover." And he said, "Yeah, and so that'll make it harder for the propeller to be shot down." I was immediately impressed. I then said, "I'm surprised you're not in the Lego robotics room." And he explained that he couldn't go because he was not an engineer. Again, I was very impressed with his level of knowledge and advancement to even know the word engineer. I certainly didn't at his age. At that moment, another instructor heard his comment and explained to him that the class was not just for engineers, but beginners. Everybody in the class was learning. And I said, "Yeah, and they're your age too." The little boy said, "Well, I guess I'll go then." My heart swelled with the idea that I just made a little difference in that boy's life. So then the question is, why the block? If not education, if not exposure, he was at the event, then what was it? When asking who are the gatekeepers to entry and participation, is it oneself? Especially for the minority, no matter how educated. The underlying reality showed that access is mental. Even though the boy was highly educated and highly exposed, something else was keeping him from going through that door, figuratively and literally. I believe he just needed a little push that said, "This is for you." As an e-learning professional, I will use this experience to design and implement tools that suggest this is for you. Whether it's the use of pink and bright colors to encourage girls to engage with the product, or if it's the use of a guide or teacher that is reflective of the minority demographic. New technologies do actively shape and influence the values and meanings, even identities we own. But all too often that identity is led by white male. In order to encourage others to form an identity with new technology, we must ask what mental barriers may be present and how we can use design elements to remove them, even if it's just as simple as reaching out to a child and asking them to participate like I did.